Is this thing on? Good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News. I'll get used to it. Good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. Hopefully, you can hear me okay. You can see me okay. I know I had a few technical difficulties that I did not realize until after the live stream. And so, I called it Max Headroom, but you guys might be a little bit more familiar with the Spider-Verse and, the glitching and things going in and out. But yes, I am still in the same universe. I didn't wake up in a different one. So, and yeah, I do like all the Spider-Man movies, especially the ones with Miles Morales. He's so cute. Oh my goodness. And I got to take my grandson to see it. So, it's always a warm space in my heart for my grandson. And with that, we're going to get started with our Kids Corner.
What if one piece of paper could change the way you see life? Meet Ethan, a 10-year-old rich kid who thought money was all that mattered, until his report card came. Ethan had every toy, every game, and never worried about school. He thought grades were just numbers that didn't matter to a rich kid like him. One day, his teacher handed him a report card. For the first time, Ethan saw a paper full of red marks. His smile disappeared instantly. At home, Ethan's parents didn't yell. Instead, his mom gently said, "Money can buy toys, but not knowledge. Effort is what makes a person truly rich." Ethan thought deeply. He realized his parents believed in him. For the first time, he opened his books not out of fear, but because he wanted to learn. Days turned into weeks. Ethan wasn't perfect, but he kept trying. Every page he read and every problem he solved made him stronger. Months later, Ethan held a new report card. This time, his grades were glowing. He learned real success doesn't come from money, it comes from never giving up.
Yeah, never giving up. And sometimes it's tough, How should I say? Everybody has their special lane. Some people are good at English, some people are good at math, some people are good at reading, and then there are others that they struggle a little bit in those areas and they just have to work a little bit harder. And it's okay. Just put in the extra effort and it will pay off. So, with that, we're going to get into our prayer for the day and honoring God with our body. Make sure you guys can see that. It's kind of interesting with this, I should say, this platform. I kind of like it. I didn't like it yesterday. Was not having the best time, but it's getting better. It really, really is getting better. And I think the better, in my opinion, my internet connection gets, I think the better this stream will be. So just let me know in the comments, how you guys are liking it. What do you think? This is called EV It's not StreamYard. And I'm also going to try Riverside as well and just see how that platform does. So, how to, God, we want to honor you with our body today. So, God, please guard our mind and thoughts. God, help me to fix my thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. So, I will think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. God, please help me to listen to your voice. God, help me to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. God, please protect my eyes from sin's damage. God, I make a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully. God, please speak life over my mouth. God, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. God, please help my hands to serve generously. God, help me to do good to everyone and especially to those who belong to our family in the faith. God, please help me to honor you with my body. God, help me to honor you with my body. And God, please protect my feet and help me walk along your path. God, let your word be a lamp for my feet and a light on my path. So I really do hope you guys got something out of that prayer for today. It's something that I'm focused on praying for us every day as we walk in this world that's, I'm sorry, it's a little crazy. And it's Tell It All Tuesday. So this is a day of the week that I usually will focus on different articles that may not necessarily coalesce. Some of them may intersect, some of them may not. And, we are going to talk a little bit about what's happening in Minnesota. We're going to talk about what's happening, what had happened at Davos, and a few other things in between. But what we're going to start with first, and let me get that video. And that's the thing. It's like I got to exit. I got to start over. I'm so used to having my little videos just like right there when I click, go. All right, so EV Mux, you guys got to figure out that part because I like to click and go. But this one I wanted to share with you guys. We never really think about the evolution of DVDs to streaming and why, right? It was always the why. And it's like, okay, is it for convenience or, what else was behind it? But I really like this gentleman's take on what it is. And like I said, this is going to kind of lead us into different topics. But again, this is Tell It All Tuesday.
We still have DVDs and people still get them because when they lock this internet up, ain't nobody streaming nothing. Streaming was created for real-time editing. The reason we're all into streaming, the reason why they took the hard drive out of the Apple TV, the reason why they don't want you with content is because they want to be able to alter content. See, if you're streaming, it's on their server, not yours. You don't own it. You don't even have it. That's why they sell a computer now, the fastest computer out right now, and the hard drive is tiny. Why you only give me 128 gigabytes? And then if you want more, you got to pay thousands of dollars.
Absolutely.
Why are they doing that? Because they want it in the cloud. Because two things happens if it's in the cloud. One,
They haven't.
and the other thing is they learn it. Metatron don't know. He's not omniscient. He's not like God or whatever. This demon spirit has to learn.
They
It's
need our voices, our images, our.
dude, it's us. We're all cyborgs. There's a digital version of all of us in the hands of the enemy. He's created it from our uploads. He's showing all your birthdays. He's showing everything you do. He's learning. How else would the devil be omnipresent?
Oh my.
He wants to be like God. The internet makes him omnipresent.
That's crazy. All right. Don't get me mad on this little podcast. Okay, because I am heated right now.
Yeah. And we never really think about it like that, right? And I've said it before here in this program. The AI is us. It has learned from us. All it has done is aggregate all of the information in a repository. And when we dip in and ask it a question, it's just giving us back the information. But again, it's how you ask the question. Because if you ask the question from a certain viewpoint or an emotional stance, then that's when it starts to lean in a particular way. It may have a certain mindset. It may have a certain ideology. Yeah. And some chatbots won't even, they'll refuse to answer you. I've tried different chatbots and they're like, nope, I'm not going to answer that question. I'm like, yeah, I know who you've been programmed by. And that's how we have to remember this is a machine. Garbage in, garbage out. That's all it is. Except we're the garbage. I'd say it like that, but yeah, we're not garbage. It's the information in, information out. I'll say it that way. The reason why people would say sometimes garbage in, garbage out, especially when they were at the advent of a database, is because if you put corrupt information in, you will get corrupt information out. You will in essence corrupt your data. So, sometimes when we're getting these responses back, like I said, they have an ideology and it depends on the programmer and the programmed ideology that it wants the different chatbots to respond out. I mean, one of the cleanest ones I've found so far is Grok. Claude is pretty good as well. There's a couple more I'm probably going to be trying throughout the year. But, I sometimes bounce back between different ones. Chat GPT, I will sometimes use it here and there for just small projects, like create a description for me. You know what I mean? But I'm not asking it questions. I'm not trying to actually get certain aggregated information from it because sometimes it's limited in scope with ChatGPT, in my opinion. But like I said, a very interesting take on that gentleman and just how he was like, yeah, it's us. How else can Satan be omnipresent unless he is using the internet? In my opinion, he's using it well because he's got people at each other's throats right now. And no one has stopped to see the spiritual battle. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, the next video that we're going to get into, I'm not going to play the entire video, but there is a reporter. Her name is Sarah Gonzalez. I want to say she's with Blaze Media. And she found fraud in Texas, right? Because a lot of the H-1B visas, they, come over here and they're working in the tech industry. And it's like, why are there so many people of Indian descent? And when I say Indian, I'm talking about India, okay? Indonesia, all right? Pakistan. Why are there so many when we have, techs here, right here on the soil? But a lot of companies will go the H-1B visa route. Well, number one, they can pay them less, obviously. But number two, they can consolidate what they do, right? They can make it so where they have so many people and they might be paying 5 people the amount that they would pay 2 people. So again, it does still come down to money and resources. But these companies are being allowed to get away with it because they also get tax write-offs when they have these H-1B visa people too. But that's another deal. But let me share this video with you guys. Like I said, it was very eye-opening and I wanted you guys to know it. That's why we're doing Tell It All Tuesday.
Honestly, Alex, it started with me. Obviously, I had heard that this was a problem. Obviously, I'm seeing, you mentioned Austin, I'm seeing in Dallas, I'm seeing our communities completely shift. I'm seeing the fabric of our communities be completely changed from, I'm a born and raised native Texan. It doesn't look like Texas anymore. And so I'm seeing it in my own neighborhood. I'm seeing it in the communities around me. I'm seeing it literally right across the street from our studio. It's everywhere. And so I'm like, okay, I have to start looking into this myself. And I was somewhat inspired by Nick Shirley. And so I start looking into this, and all the information is public. It is public on purpose, intentionally, so that this type of fraud doesn't happen. But Americans have been asleep at the wheel for so long, nobody's thought to look into it. So I start looking on some of these data aggregators that list all of these H-1B applications. So these are businesses that are applying for an H-1B job. And I'm looking through the job postings, and I'm like, why is Dallas Independent School District asking for 36 pages of H-1B visas for elementary school teachers, for middle school math teachers? Why is that a thing that's happening for bilingual elementary school teachers? And then it dawned on me, oh, hold on. The H-1Bs are coming into this country, they're bringing their families, and then we need more H-1Bs to come into this country to teach their children how to learn English. It's a total scam. And then I started peeling back some more layers of the onion, and I started looking at, say, Texas A&M. I found an athletic trainer position, an H-1B application for Texas A&M to have an athletic trainer. You're telling me that we just can't fill the job? An American can't fill the job of athletic trainer. We don't have any American who can fill the job of middle school math teacher. I mean, it has become beyond absurd. Alex, we set up a tip line or an email address for people to send in tips for more so that we can keep exposing this. And you would not believe the thing that shocked me the most, that I never really thought about, I get it now, but I never really thought about, is that we have so many people from India. Oh, there it is right there. You can see Louisville, Texas. It's like, guys, these are the high-tech people who can't even build a basic website. And so we have all of these emails flooding in, and people from India are very upset about this, actually. That was the thing I wasn't expecting. I understand that there are American workers who are very upset about this because, I mean, I just had a guy who emailed me literally right before I joined you, and the subject of the email was, H-1B ruined my life. There are Americans who have this specialized skill set, and they cannot get hired in the industry. I'm getting emails from Americans that are saying,
Indians, and you know why India's mad? Breitbart did an article on it earlier last year. It's one little tribe that got in 50 years ago that controls. They only let them in. So people don't know how much competition the Indians are with each other. The Indians get this is the same group screwed them.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's total discrimination that's happening. And that's the emails that I'm getting is it just takes one Indian in a position in management and they will never hire a white person again. They only go back to their friends in India. They ship them all here and they give them all of these, jobs that don't actually exist most of the time. So it's not just the American workers that are feeling completely displaced and end up unemployed with no ability to provide for their families because of the Indian scam, but also you have people in India that, like I was saying, that I didn't think about it, that they are upset because they're sending me emails and they're saying they're taking advantage of these people who are very vulnerable and they feel desperate. And so they go there, they call them body shops. I'm sure you know this, Alex. They call these quote consulting firms that we believe are just shell companies and scams. They call them body shops because that's literally what they're doing. They're trafficking these people here. And in a lot of cases, it's not necessarily their friends, but it's just people who are going to pay them a portion of their salary. And it's this weird human trafficking situation.
That came out in Ohio with this undercover thing on the judges, $50,000 per illegal that they give the refugee status to, and they're the Democrats saying, no, you don't understand, we take all their money, and then they just warehouse them and make them get a job. So this is modern slavery.
The government fears Alex Jones, who has the largest.
Yeah, y'all. So this is happening. I just want to fast forward through the video a little bit, because sometimes they'll do the lead in and they'll become repetitive. But let's watch it from here.
And you want to stop it. He gives you the tools to go in and search all of these up. And if you have an address around your home or around your workplace that you think, oh, this is a little bit strange, you can actually go and do some digging. I mean, they have made it very easy for Americans to just do the digging. No one wants to do it. Everyone says, I'll wait for someone else.
Just like Nick Shirley, everywhere you went was like more crazy than the next. It's like, it's all a scam. So where do they find that aggregator? I know you give us your websites, give us your X. I mean, this is a big deal. We need to get people just like you were inspired by Shirley. Now you're going to inspire others. This is so important.
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate that. So they need to go to Sarah Gonzalez TX on YouTube. Also, my X account is Sarah Gonzalez TX, and so we will have all of that coming out. I will pin it to my to the top of my X feed. I want. There are a lot of people out there who are I think investigating this. They're getting a few of the facts wrong, but what I want people to be empowered to do is, I don't need the credit for your work. You go out and you do that work, and I will amplify your work, because it is about changing this country for the better. It is about getting rid of all of these policies, that this mass migration that has ruined our communities. It is about really, truly making America great again. And if we can empower a bunch of citizen journalists to go out there and do some of this knocking on doors, I say at the end of my documentary, listen, if I want this to do one thing, it is that I want all of these people who have come in here through scams, all of these people who have exploited our immigration process, all of these people who shouldn't be here, I want them to be fearful that someone's going to show up at their door and knock on their door. And I want them to be so fearful that they go the hell home. That is what I would like to happen. And we can't accomplish that without a million Nick Shirleys going in and saying, you know what, I'm going to do some door knocking. I'm going to ask some basic questions, and I'm going to essentially save my community. I think that that is how all of this stops. We all have to be involved. We all have to be empowered to go and go face to face and just ask basic questions. That's really all that it takes.
I totally agree with you. And again, we don't care what color somebody is. We're going to expose it. We need to expose the Ukrainians that are like buying $10 million homes, billion-dollar ski resorts, Zelensky. This is all out there, folks. Don't count on the corporate media to cover it. It's, it's all been out there. But when we go out as real reporters, just an average person, folks, just shoot video. It's insane how easy this is. And what's exciting is the sleeping giant, the terrible giant, is awakening. And there's no way, I think, they ever put this back in the bottle.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that then, by the way, for the better, right? It's been a long time coming. Americans have watched their communities be shaped not in a good way, and they've thought, well, I might be called xenophobic, I might be called racist, I might be called, and then what the Democrats did was they said, actually, we're going to call you that so many times, it's going to be rendered completely meaningless. And I think now Americans who are awake are saying, okay, you know what? I've heard that too many times. I'm watching my communities be shaped not for the better. I'm watching my prices go up. I can't afford a home. We've got a bunch of young people who can't afford homes. And for so long, the conversation was only about illegal immigration and how that was impacting all of the prices. Now we can finally have the conversation, now that Donald Trump is, doing something. I would prefer that we do it quicker, but he is doing something to get all of these criminals out of our country. Now let's have the conversation about legal immigration and how that has been exploited and how that has been taken advantage of. And let's get those people out too. And just getting all of those people out, Alex, can you imagine how that would change our communities for the better? We could have prices that would go down. Young people might be able to actually afford a home, which is, I know, one of their main
it's all
problems.
The illegal aliens and the legal ones that are driving up stuff. It's been out of control.
Right.
The H-1B visa is a giant scam, and I think there should be a moratorium on it. And
I agree.
And again, these are sophisticated cultures, folks, that are coming over here and exploiting it. And whether you're a black American, Hispanic American, white American, whatever you are, if you're an American that works in the system, we can't survive if we don't either fix our old good system or be slaves to this one, because that's what's happening. We have to stand up to this.
Yeah, I completely agree, Alex. And I would say I think we do need a moratorium on the H-1B. I would actually go so far as to say I think we need a moratorium on pretty much all form of immigration, except maybe the EB-5, which is more of a buy-in, promising to invest in the American economy. But other than that, this has gotten too far out of control. We need a complete moratorium. We need to shut it down. We need to reevaluate all of these forms of visas so that we can best know how to address it in the future.
Now, I find this interesting. And for those of you that know me and know what I've been talking about since I was running for president, I was talking about we need a moratorium on everything. We need to shut the border down. Nobody comes in and everybody leaves. And I just find it fascinating. Let's see. I started that conversation in 2022 and now we're 2026. So like 4 years later, now people are saying it. And they're not saying it because, okay, it wasn't a problem back then. They're saying it now because it's affecting them. Because see, until it was affecting their neighborhoods, were we talking about this? Come on now, were we talking about this? We were talking about some of it, but we weren't talking about all of it. But now that it's in your neighborhood, now that it's on your street, now that it's affecting you, it's a problem. I just wanted to bring that up because it is affecting everybody. Just saying. But it was affecting certain people first. And I wanted to say good morning to everyone who's shown up. Beyond Skeptical, thank you for joining us. Mr. Black MF, good morning to you. Baby Sister 13, Righteous Anger, thank you so much for joining us. Cool Water, thank you for joining us. And Beyond Skeptical, so that's exactly right. It is, again, this is Dollar Tuesday. I'm not trying to belittle what Sarah Gonzalez has done. I'm glad that she has brought attention to it because it's been happening. But now you're bringing attention to it because see, what they don't talk about with these H-1 visas is called chain migration, where they can bring anyone over here that they say is their relative. And I think it can be up to like 10 people. It might be more. Not vetted. These people aren't vetted. They're just taking their word for it that this is their family members. And they didn't talk about that in the video, but I'm going to talk about it because I've seen it. And it's been going on for a long time. I mean, it's been going on since amnesty. Okay. And our immigration has been out of control since the 60s when we decided as a country to open up the United States to all of these foreign countries. That's when things kind of popped off and got crazy. And we are seeing the great new society run its course. We are seeing replacement migration run its course because 20 years ago, right? Almost 26 years ago, because it was in the 2000s, sorry. United Nations, they put out their whole replacement migration plan. They had a plan for this. We're seeing it. Come on. We're seeing it. We're going to get a little bit more into some of that, but yeah, we're seeing it all play out. It is crazy on top of crazy. But guess what? We're going to fix this. We're going to get through this. Not only are we going to get through it, we're going to get through it for the better. Because I think a lot of times people have to hit rock bottom and they have to smack them in the face, kick them in the jaw, and they're kind of laying there bleeding going, yeah, we need to fix this. You do. Now, there is the Pause Act that Chip Roy put forth. I will have to check on that legislation to see where it is in the process, because if it doesn't pass the House and the Senate before the midterms, okay, it needs to pass. It should have been passed. But if it does not pass by March of this year, like right now, I'm not taking either party seriously. I'm definitely not taking the Republicans seriously because you have the majority. I'm not taking you seriously. Don't come and ask for my vote. Don't talk to me about my vote. Republicans, especially in the House and the Senate, when you have the ability to shut this down. You want to whine and complain about it, but you don't want to fix it. You are worse than the Democrats right now. Worse. Okay. Now let's get into this next video. And this is one that Alex had mentioned when he was talking about corruption at the highest level. Now, this is undercover footage. It's not James O'Keefe. It's somebody completely different who actually applied to work with this organization. And this individual, they were just spilling the tea on what next steps were.
I can get to the judge. You know, that's the only person you want that to
Shut him off,
If I can get to the judge, it's okay. Sometimes it's some people,
So they'll pay you.
Some places drink some big places where you don't even drink alcohol, but you're going to some big places.
Right.
The big boys sit down and drink. I visit those places.
Right.
Make conversation with him.
Yeah.
You see, I have this boy there, and that day, you work that day. He say, yeah. He say, okay. $50,000 to send everybody to see all these names.
Yeah.
I have them in my book. Okay? I go to the bar like everybody should. Spot the judge. I say, you work on this date? You like, let me see my calendar. You go in his phone. Yeah? What's your problem? I said, I got all these boys, man.
Oh, I remember.
Want to let them back here, because they work for me. Hey, you better give me 50G, baby.
The judge says that?
You ain't scared of nothing. How they live? You know they pay a bill just like me and you. Come on, man.
You have an envelope for them?
There's 4 or 5 names in there already. Names where you need to get help. And you're like, okay.
So then you talk to him, you got your envelope, you show him some names, whatever.
Put the name in the envelope like a cash money. You say what?
No cash, just the name.
Just the name. You see this judge right here?
Which one?
This one.
I can't see it.
You see if you want to talk to them, any one of these judges, see if you want to talk to none of them, you only want to talk to one judge.
Which one do I want to talk to?
One person. Any one of them, just get one judge. All of them talk.
All right, let's stop right here. This is, folks, how many times for 20 years you heard me describe this for you, okay? They bring it in, whatever it is. It's not just for illegal aliens. It's CPS, it's everything. And you'll have the one king judge that manages it, and then they'll know what court it's going to be. They hand it off. So then the money and the payoffs go into a law firm who keeps part of it and pays it in. And they'll have the NGO managers that get part of the money as well. And they just literally milk these people. And in many cases, they're like, okay, we're going to put all these 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds at the cereal plant or at the tire factory. And then they don't even go to school. They just sleep and live there. Remember the New York Times reported on this a few years ago. And then they'll also come in and say, this little girl looks cute. We're taking her. And they'll just disappear. The girl's never seen. And they rape them, use them 10 guys a day for a couple of years and then just take them to a facility, sell them again, take the organs. We got stuff out of Maine, New Mexico, Michigan, Ohio, the same crap. And again, you ask, well, why is it Somalis? Why is it Indians? Why is it Muslims? Because they come from countries where they have managers and groups that are in the NGOs that start the pipeline, put them in where they live, put them in the schools, control them, and then they vote how they're told, they work how they're told, they pay their money back, most of it, into the group that brought them here, because if they don't, the Democrats just make a phone call, or they make a phone call to Democrats, and then they deport you. That's why under Biden they said, and also under Obama, at the end, 7 years till your first immigration hearing. And they just give you a Social Security number. And if you behave yourself, you never go to the hearing. You're just made legal. You just go to a citizen hearing. But if you don't do what you're told, you get deported. So that's why they never wanted to have real immigration reform, because the Democrats like this illegal pipeline. And the Republican neocons were a big part of that as well, but that's changed now. So Trump is fundamentally trying to save the very sovereignty of the country. That's why the Democrats are throwing all their fits. But here's just a few of the reports. And again, you got to go watch the full thing. I mean, in Ohio, they've got all these women, and they checked. It's all true. And I just say women because that's, people think of women as nice and not corrupt, because in the past, men committed most crime. That's why the system works with women, because they know you don't see a woman as a crook. And they go and they sign up the migrants that are illegal. They get them refugee status, but they go pay the judge the money. And then you have sponsors that come in and then own a percentage of the person as a slave. You then get part of their paycheck. They sign you up for disabilities. They get part of that. I mean, it's wild. So here's one out of Maine. Same deal with the Somalis in Michigan and in Minneapolis and Washington State, Minnesota, all of it. Journalists find and people say, oh, it's much bigger than that. Yeah, them personally in one day go out and find 2 million of fake businesses. Like Shirley found, 18 million or whatever in one day. The point is that's just where you go to prove it. The numbers out of Maine, they think, are $500 million so far. They just found another 400-something million yesterday in Obamacare fraud. And they said they're finding that basically every few days. So it's way above $24 billion. That's an old number now. And the media is still running the old number of $9 billion or $19 billion. So let's play a short clip out of Ohio on this. Or no, out of Maine. Then we'll go to Ohio. And again, there's a bunch of these videos of these people. And it's been confirmed this is going on. Meeting with folks about you bring the money for the pay off the judge. You get a percentage of this new person we're bringing in. And that's how big this business is. And that's why they want to keep it open. That's a 24-minute report. I'm not going to air the whole thing. You want to find it? It's on townhall.com. I posted it on X yesterday. Bombshell footage as judge can be bought with bribes in Ohio immigration courts. So you want to find it, you go pull this up. And they've got all these people saying the same thing, and they're been caught on record doing it. And they're so brazen, they believe they'll never get any trouble for it. So that's just a small snapshot of what's going on. Let's play the full report out of Maine, and then we'll play just some of the report out of Ohio. Here it is.
We're here in Portland, Maine. We found of the businesses that are registered in here, of the 20-something businesses, 10 of them are home health care businesses. As you can see, Prestige Home Care, Bright Star Home Care, Atlantic Community Support, 5 Stars Home Health Care, Prime Home Care, LLC. It's a trend we saw in Minnesota, one that the Minnesota House Oversight Committee on Fraud tells News Nation is a giant red flag. Large clusters of healthcare providers in one location. This building right behind me has 22 different home and community-based healthcare companies registered in the building. Inside this Portland office building, owner Ron Nevins agreed to speak with us.
I think I got 10 healthcare companies, which is probably about half, maybe a little less than half of this building.
Healthcare, home healthcare. I didn't even know what home healthcare was. Do you think these businesses are actually legit businesses?
Some, yes, but some I highly question. Nobody's ever here, and if it was 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but when there's 10, I've had as many as 12 or 13 probably before. The 5-star, I took the sign off the door because I'm trying to rent the office.
A state audit found that 5-Star Home Healthcare overbilled Maine's Medicaid by nearly $400,000, according to documents obtained by the Maine Wire. They failed to provide documentation to substantiate hundreds of thousands of dollars in Medicaid benefits paid out for home-based health care, and then the owner just abandoned the office.
By the way, hit pause. I can't even reach him. 10 seconds. Unlike Nick Shirley did a great job, going to like 15 places and showing, 118 million or whatever in fraud because no one's there and there's no kids and it's a weekday and, there's no cars, no footprints, nothing. That's just circumstantial. No. This newscast went out and they had the landlords let them in. And they're like, yeah, there's nobody ever in these things. I think probably half of them are fraud. Then they go check the records, and they've got certified fraud of $2+ million just in one building they visited. And that's just where the state did their job, which is rare. You starting to get this, folks? This is open and shut. Continue.
By nearly $400,000, according to documents obtained by the Maine Wire. They failed to provide documentation to substantiate hundreds of thousands of dollars in Medicaid benefits paid out for home-based health care, and then the owner just abandoned the office.
I can't even reach him in 6 months. No return calls, no return texts, nothing.
There's been no consequences, no investigation, no resolution to what happened with 5 Stars Home Health Care. And that, I think, is something, that's a story that we see play out time and time again.
You've been reporting on this for quite a long time here in Maine. How widespread do you think this issue is here?
Hundreds of millions of dollars, easily. It's, you look at just where we're standing right now, there are probably a dozen home health care agencies registered
right here.
We can see Ladna Home Health Care down there. As a $2 million home health care agency, you can see it's located right next to 2 money wiring services. Right next to it, you have Dahab Shield. Dahab Shield is the official money wiring service of the Central Bank of Somalia.
You don't know what's going on behind the scenes,
Does it bother you?
Well, it ticks me off if they're screwing the state of Maine, and because that's my tax money, You add up what's going on all over the state of Maine, it's probably millions and millions of dollars of fraud and abuse.
Is there a way I can help the newcomers, the people from Mauritania?
Oh, we got them all here too.
Oh yeah.
See,
Did you guys are the ones that kind of took care of them?
yeah.
Bless you.
So he talks to a lady, sends her this lady, and they put him into how to do the fraud.
They've been here for a little while now, I understand.
Maybe a year or so.
Oh my
I
gosh,
guess. They've been populating over here.
You guys been able to handle that?
First it was overwhelming, but now we can.
How's your friend's boyfriend adapting?
He's staying with us right now. But see, he has his own place too. He's got a place with 4 or 5 other guys that he pays his part of the rent for, but he comes and stays with her.
Right. That's on Mulberry, maybe.
Yes. Lachlan I call it Little Africa. I call it Little Africa.
Right.
Because they stand out everywhere. They're all over the place.
Right.
And well, I mean, it is what it is. Fine, welcome to America.
Did they work? She got a job?
She gets them their papers. She does.
Oh, they get them the papers to work?
She helps them. She helps them.
All right. Is there a way to help with that?
Mama.
Hello, Mama.
Yes.
Do they need work?
He's talking about work. He's talking about everything. He knows about Mulberry Street. He knows about all this shit. He knows
I try to
about all
work with
of
them
it.
the best I can.
So you've been over on Mulberry.
I haven't been there. I just, I heard that, and I think I saw some people coming in and going.
That's a big African place.
I almost was going to bring the water directly there, but somebody said don't do that.
The what?
I was going to bring the water directly in there, but they said...
No. Let's stop here. So, this goes on. There's hours of this. I posted on X. So he gets into the network of the NGO locals. Then he gets sent. They say, go to this lady. She'll get you in if you want to manage some of these people and make some real money. Let's go to that report. Here it is.
If I can get to the judge. That's the only person you want that to
It's not a bomb.
If I can get through the judge. It's okay. Sometimes it's some people.
So they'll pay you.
Some places, drink some big places where you don't even drink alcohol, but you're going to some big places. The big boys sit down and drink and visit those places.
Right.
Make a conversation with him.
Yeah.
You see. I have this boy there, and that day, you work that day? He say, yeah. He say, okay. $50,000. I send everybody. See all these names?
Yeah.
I have them in my book. Okay? I go to the bar like everybody should. Spot the judge. I say, you work on this date? You like, let me see my calendar. You go in his phone. Yeah? What's your problem? I said, I got a lot of these boys, man. Oh, I remember. Want to let them back here? Because they work for me. Hey, you better give me 50J, baby.
The judge says that?
You ain't scared of nothing. How they live? You know they pay a bill just like me and you. Come on, man.
How does the judge get paid, though? Because...
Oh, no, nigga, you gotta help me. I'm gonna come back and say, watch out. We have this deadline. We need $50,000. And then the list me look, count them down. Calculating. You give me this, you give me this. Gotta make the money.
Right.
We have 40 men. But $50,000. So everybody got to pay $1,200.
But then you have to do the dangerous part of getting it to the judge.
Exactly. So I be like, see something they call lime, where you cannot trace back.
What's it called? Lime?
Lime.
Oh, it's an app.
You cannot trace back.
And you send it through
Lime.
You send it through Lime. Pay on Lime.
Yeah.
Okay, pay.
Pay on Lime.
Should I set up an account?
Greendat.com.
What is it called?
Greendat.com. You go CVS and buy a card. It's like $1.25 for the card. You want to have money where you're going to spend to pay people. And Lime.
And it's not trackable.
You can't track it.
And that's the same shit used for the judges.
Nobody don't watch that.
But you trust that to even use it for the judges?
Yes.
Okay.
So you see, this card, you can spend up like $10 million a day, transport any amount of money. And those cards is fraud.
Is what?
Fraud card. That's why they sell them. The card, they use it for like me, for money laundering in Jamaica. And you go there Jamaica. They say things. They give you $100,000. I need it that drop online. You drop it online.
Gotcha.
And I put in the code number. You have the code. Me. So you know how much me have.
Gotcha.
If you go and push money, you have to have somebody who can wash the money. And that's what people get greedy and grab a fucking wishes.
Do you have somebody in Jamaica that can wash the money for you?
If we get it, if it come to my hand, oh hell yes. Yeah, one day we go back to face the judge, but I get my lawyer to go to court with him that day. You have to have a lawyer. We can go to the judge, because you know that's the one who talk to the judge, is the liar. You get the lawyer, and you say, okay, we have this sheet of paper. I need you to ask the judge how much to carry these people 3 more years in this country for we to get this project done. And you say, okay, give me $50,000.
You send the $50,000 to the lawyer?
Yes. $50,000 going to split up between everybody.
Between the lawyer and the judge?
Here how them get money. Attorney, you walk up in the office. Cash money. Have no trail. Here's the money, sir.
But you have one you've used. You would use...
I got Weber. Weber?
Who?
Michael Weber.
Michael Weber?
Yes.
Where's he at? In Lebanon?
No, he's in Cincinnati here.
What kind of attorney? Is he immigration?
He is like immigration. He is like if you get injured, he's white.
He's white guy?
Yeah.
Bald?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Glasses?
Yes. This is what people don't understand. Judge put on their pants to see we like us.
Yeah.
And you don't go to them with no naked pants. They need to wear tights, leggings. They need their hair done. They need their fingernail done. So when I go to them, it's like, what's up? This is what we have.
You have an envelope for them?
There's 4 or 5 names in there already. Names where you need to get help. And he's like, okay.
So then you talk to him, you got your envelope, you show him some names, whatever.
You put the name in the envelope like a cash money. You say what's up?
No cash, just the name.
Just the name. You see this judge right here?
Which one?
This one right here.
I can't see it.
You see if you want to talk to them, and one of these judges, see if you want to talk to none of them, you only want to talk to one judge.
Which one do I want to talk to?
One person. Any one of them, just get one judge. All of them talk.
All right, let's stop right here. This is, folks, how many times for 20 years you heard me describe this for you, okay? They bring it in, whatever it is. It's not just for illegal aliens. It's CPS, it's everything. And you'll have the one king judge that manages it, and then they'll know what court it's going to be. They hand it off. So then the money and the payoffs go into a law firm who keeps part of it and pays it in. And they'll have the NGO managers that get part of the money as well. And they just literally milk these people. And in many cases, they're like, okay, we're going to put all these 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds at the cereal plant or at the tire factory. And then they don't even go to school. They just sleep and live there. Remember the New York Times reported on this a few years ago. And then they'll also come in and say, this little girl looks cute. We're taking her. And they'll just disappear. The girl's never seen. And they rape them, use them 10 guys a day for a couple of years and then just take them to a facility, sell them again, take the organs. And I've had members of parliament on from the UK about it. I've had people on from the Swiss government. It happens here. And again, it's all compartmentalized. It's like, oh, we have to get rid of this girl. She's causing a problem or she's whatever. Oh, the trash man's coming. Take him to the train station. And then the men come. They drug her. Bye-bye. She gets chopped up. Done. You want to know where the 500,000 kids went? A lot of them they killed. They mean business. And whether you're in a small town or a big city, a large percent of your judges and your lawyers are in on this. And because it's so evil, because it's so bad, the average person just can't even interface that this is going on. And then you get in front of these judges, and you're a Christian, you're a conservative, they throw the book at you. They hate because it's a cult of criminals. That's how with me, they had total show trials run by HBO. And I knew they were corrupt. I didn't realize I was in them. That was like all staged. I was already guilty. It was all produced. The judge then had South by Southwest walked the red carpet, was part of the gala with the flash bulbs for the movie she'd been in. And she's a Soros judge. I mean, these are hardcore criminals. Hardcore. And I've told you this for years. They don't hide any of it. And so this investigating group started back in November, December. Now they released it. They've released hours and hours of it. And they just go talk to local NGO people, get to be their friends, go hang out with them. All right, I'll put you in touch with the next person. Here's the woman. All right, here's the judge's names. Here's the money. Here's how we do it. And you notice it's exactly how I described it decades ago. But they've scaled it up. 20 million illegals. ICE estimates 1 million kids under Biden. 500,000 disappeared on purpose, names erased. And DHS has leaked to Patriots. All right, here's some of the names. They go to it, and then they thought they were dropped off in Walmart parking lots, Target parking lots. And when they're able to track down where the girls are, they knock on the door. The little girl opens up. She's 12. She goes, I just had this baby a year ago. I'm pregnant again. 10 men have sex with me a day. Please save me. Muckraker's gotten those reports. Anthony Rubin, James O'Keefe. James O'Keefe, goes to his places in San Antonio, Austin. This little 12-year-old girl saying, they men come, they rape me all day. I'm just outside right now. Please, will you take me with you? Will you save me? We've seen the footage here. This is your Democratic Party, the most satanic, demonic, evil people the earth has ever seen. But in Ukraine, they take the kids and gang rape them. In Europe, the UK, and kill them for their organs. I've had members of parliament on exposing it. And Keir Starmer, for 15 years, sat over that as the head magistrate and would not prosecute any of them. Keir Starmer is literally Satan walking the face of the earth.
Yeah. So I will definitely link this video in the repost. Now, what I wanted to share with you guys next, is a tweet by Marjorie Taylor Greene, and this was on January 25th. So this would have been Sunday. Yeah, Sunday morning, 8:48 a.m. I like the fact that you can, document when people actually post on X. And, I know Alex was like, Democrats are just demons. We got demons on both sides. Please understand that. They live on both sides of the aisle. I didn't pull that video where they were showing, some people who were possibly formerly Democrats, but you can kind of tell how their politics lean. That's why they call them rhinos. Like the Maria Salazar calling for the Dignity Act. If you've been here and you've been paying taxes, ma'am, they're here illegally. They need to be deported immediately. What are you talking about? We are not doing amnesty again, and all that is backdoor amnesty. But what's happening to these children, what's happening with these H-1B visas, they could stop it, but they're not. Because somebody always benefits. But let's get to this tweet from Marjorie Taylor Greene. She says, while you are being gaslit by the political industrial complex all over social media and the news telling you what you are supposed to be outraged about, think about this. Republicans funded the refugee program by nearly $6 billion of your taxpayer dollars in the DHS appropriations bill, even though you have been losing your mind about paying for refugee funding while you discovered all the Somali fraud. And the DHS appropriations bill funds all of Homeland Security, including ICE. Now you have watched a shooting video probably over 30 times, trying to figure out what happened while a near civil war is being fueled in Minnesota. But look past the hype and focus in on the granular details. The DHS bill funds both ICE and refugee programs. The DHS bill funds doubling HB2 visas and deportations at the same time. Now, I'll have to look into what H-2B visas are if they're step one from H-1B visas, right? Now, do you see how the Uniparty in Washington funds both sides and then gaslights you and drives you to hate each other? It's all manufactured to drive your outrage, and that is how they make money. When the American people stop being baited into fighting each other, the American people will defeat the political industrial complex that divides us all and can work to truly put Americans first. Now, somebody's going to come and drag her for that. They are. They're going to be like, well, she's hanging out with Democrats and she's telling the truth on this stuff. I've been saying it too. This is all meant to implode. This is not meant to de-escalate. Period. Now, I've been calling for a 500 feet or 500 foot, restraining order on all persons when it comes to DHS officers. They cannot be within 500 feet of them. That's unreasonable. It is. It's meant to be unreasonable because they should not be within 500 feet of them. Stop harassing them. But the other thing that could be done is remove every ICE agent from Minnesota. Just remove them. And give Tim Walz 90 days and give him the list of people that DHS wants to apprehend. You've got 90 days to find these people, send them to a holding facility, which they do have in Minnesota, and ICE will pick them up. And if you don't do that and complete that in 90 days, you're going to prison. Because at this point, you are harboring illegal aliens. You are in violation of Title 8, Section 1324, period. And you're also in violation of Title 18, Section 111, impeding federal agents from doing their job. It's at a fever pitch. People are tired. They're exhausted. 3 people have lost their lives. This needs to stop. Remove them. But you remove them with the intention of arresting every single politician that is trying to impede federal agents from doing their job. I think that's easy. I think that's simple. And that really starts to show that you really want to save the American people, because this is ridiculous. I mean, this woman saying, oh yeah, we paid the judges. We just give them money. And we put on these green dot cards because they're not traceable. We use lime because it isn't traceable. We can launder $100,000 going to Jamaica. Like, this is disgusting. She's not the only one, though. There are thousands of her. Thousands, not hundreds, thousands of her. Because there are millions of people that shouldn't be here. And they're being sometimes facilitated through that. But it's the judges. It's the judges and these politicians making sure it happens. Look, I want to say she's a governor or some state representative. She got in there and she's decided to lower the minimums on people that are involved with child pornography and rape. Look, I'll have to get into that tomorrow. All the things that she's involved in. What are you doing? You're trying to create chaos and you expect people to just live under this evil. I mean, it's evil what is going on right now. Like, we need people to run for office, and we need individuals that want to be servants of the people. You guys have heard me say before, we need people at the Redemption Party. We do. Check it out. USARedemptionParty.com. That's USARedemptionParty.com. We need people that are actually going to fight for our freedoms here in America. This is crazy. This is super duper crazy. And I just want to thank everybody who's joining me here this morning. I can't read all of your comments. It's a different platform so I can't see everything. But thank you for your comments. Thank you for joining me here this morning, whether you're on X, YouTube, or Facebook. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you're on YouTube, please make sure to share, like, and subscribe. If you're on Facebook, please make sure to do the same thing. Share, like, and subscribe. And if you're on X, please make sure that you follow me and repost this stream. So the next thing we're going to get into is banks closing accounts. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with LexisNexis. LexisNexis is how should I say it? They're kind of like TransUnion and what's the other one? There's TransUnion, Expedia, not Expedia, Experian. There we go. Experian, and then there's one other one that's slipping my mind right now, but they're the credit agencies, right? Well, LexisNexis is another agency similar to that. Now, I don't know if they actually put out a credit score, but you may end up with things on their platform where they're tracking you. They track everything, and nothing ever falls off of what they're tracking. And it could affect you. So I definitely wanted to share this with you guys.
If you have a bank account or a credit card, you need to watch this because banks are closing down credit card accounts and suing customers.
One that actually closed my account was Apple Card.
Michael Anderson keeps his credit in great shape by paying all of his bills on time. So when his Apple credit card was abruptly being closed, it came as a surprise. And the reason it was being closed didn't make any sense. Another credit card he had was being closed down and applied for a home loan. The bank told him they couldn't verify his financial status.
And if you cannot pay that balance when that card is shut down, it can lead to a lawsuit.
Is there anybody on here who can help me? I am being sued by Capital One for a past due account. It happened at a time where I was going through a really tough time. I just need help. And if you can give me some help, it would be very, very appreciated.
Now, here's what you need to do to protect yourself.
Well, you're probably familiar with the three main credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. They track all of your financial information and they determine your credit rating.
It's such an important number, right? There's another company tracking you with incredibly detailed information about your life. And one Valley man found out not all that information is accurate. On your side, Gary Harper is joining us in studio for this.
Yeah, the company is called LexisNexis, okay? And it's used by a lot of different industries and different companies to kind of keep tabs on people as far as like customers maybe. It's really used a lot by financial institutions. I want to make sure that you're no longer maybe a risk or something. So it's used a lot. But it's not always correct. A Mesa man got a notification from his credit card company that it was closing his account because they had filed, or they say he filed, bankruptcy. Well, he knew that was a big mistake. He's never declared bankruptcy at all. And then the problem kept happening.
The first one that actually closed my account was Apple Card.
Michael Anderson keeps his credit in great shape by paying all of his bills on time. So when his Apple credit card was abruptly being closed, it came as a surprise. And the reason it was being closed didn't make any sense.
Your account's showing that you have a bankruptcy. I said, I don't have a bankruptcy. And they said, well, based on the reporting from LexisNexis, you have a bankruptcy at this point and we have to close your account.
LexisNexis maintains one of the largest online databases of information in the world, including some of your financial details. Large companies like Apple, for example, use LexisNexis to monitor a consumer's financial report card. Michael told Apple that he's never filed for bankruptcy and asked the company to review his credit report to prove it.
Well, my Apple Card company did that. They came back to me 10 days later and said, we verified your account's been reopened. Okay, great. No problem.
Michael thought things were back to normal, but another credit card he had was being closed down, and the reason given was that LexisNexis had flagged him for bankruptcy. Then the last straw came when Michael applied for a home loan. The bank told him they couldn't verify his financial status and told him to talk to LexisNexis. On Your Side got involved, and after asking LexisNexis to investigate, they did. And they also gave Michael full access to their file that they had on him.
I was able to go through 192 pages of documents that they sent or had access to, and I found some errors in that, and I was able to address that with them at this point.
And On Your Side's request, LexisNexis removed the erroneous bankruptcy in Michael's file, and all of his information is now correct. Michael says he doesn't have to worry about any more surprises and says it took On Your Side for getting it done.
Leading in your hands gave me the opportunity to not worry about it as much, but I knew that you would get results, and you did.
Yeah, sure glad we were able to get this all sorted out for that viewer. So what does LexisNexis have on you, or maybe you, Jared?
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting, because they've got, phone numbers and addresses dating back decades, to when we were probably in college, our old addresses.
Email addresses, any kind of criminal or civil actions. It doesn't matter what state you lived in or where it happened at any time. All that stuff is in there.
Now, what is LexisNexis? It's what's called a CRA, a credit reporting agency, just like the three major credit bureaus. And they're the fourth largest CRA. Now, there's others, but LexisNexis is the one that the three major credit bureaus actually verify your information through. So when you make those disputing information, they really verify it through LexisNexis. So with LexisNexis, what makes them more dangerous and different than the three major credit bureaus, the negative items on the three major credit bureaus actually falls off in 7 years. LexisNexis, it never falls off. So when you have that negative information on those LexisNexis report, it stay on there for a lifetime. Me, myself, I pulled my clue report from LexisNexis, which is your credit profile with them, and I had over 72 pages of information going all the way back to high school. Now, what kind of information do LexisNexis have? It has all types of public records and municipal records, like your driving tickets. So if you have a parking ticket, a traffic ticket, that's on that LexisNexis report. So some of you guys that wanted to do gig work and you got denied for your driving record, that's LexisNexis. Also, they have public information. They get it from things like Pacer. So if you file for a bankruptcy, they're getting that information for the public records, and that's on that report, and it stays there. Additionally, they even have what's your home values on there. If you're a homeowner, the date you sold the home, and if you have any insurance losses, that's on there too. So they got a ton of information on you, and you wonder why your insurance premiums is higher. They're getting it from LexisNexis. So they have all of this data that doesn't fall off. With this information put on you with LexisNexis, it doesn't mean it's accurate. They mix up your credit profiles with other people with your same exact name. Think about it. How many people have your same exact name in your state? How about even in your building? If you live in a complex and you have a very general name like a Mike Jones, you can have tons of people that they mix your information up with. And just like this gentleman, he's been getting denied for credit, and even worse, his accounts are closed down. And so when this happened, you need to dispute this information off of your report. I'll leave a link down in the description of the video where you can pull your LexisNexis report. You can freeze that report if you like to also. But keep in mind, they still solicit these reports. And sometimes if you apply for credit, you got to unlock that LexisNexis report. Now, how about if this stuff is coming on you? You need to dispute it. You can dispute it just like with the three major credit bureaus, this information off that LexisNexis report. And you can also make sure that you pull those reports and manage what's on there, because this is where the three major credit bureaus is getting this data. And rental places, if you're trying to rent an apartment, you need to get this off. And even with employment, this is where they're putting that stuff for your criminal records. Now, you can actually dispute it like you would with any credit reporting agency like the three major credit bureaus. And in January, I started my credit kickoff. This is designed to...
Yeah. After this, she's just, going into how she can help you, with your credit. But guys, I didn't know about this. I honestly didn't. I mean, I'm not being weird. I didn't know. And I was just like, what? And there's another credit bureau, but they are the silo that the other three are getting their information from. Did you guys know about this? Right? Now, I've heard of LexisNexis, and when I ever think about them, I just think about them from the legal aspect, because they also have a legal arm and repository that attorneys can use. And so that's where I always thought about LexisNexis. I never thought about them being a repository for the other agencies, but that just goes to show, you know what? They're not telling the general public, hey, this is where your information actually lives, and this is who's reporting to the three major credit bureaus, and this is what you need to do to actually keep your credit information safe and viable. Because to her point, if you share the exact same name as some other person, they might be putting stuff on your LexisNexis report that you haven't even, just like, I didn't live there, I wasn't there, I was here. So we have to be able to take care of our credit profiles. But what it also goes to show is there's no more civil liberties. I'm sorry. I mean, we talk about our civil liberties in this country. Like, really? That's a complete violation of privacy. And it's going to be kept on there forever. So you've got a profile on me forever? Yeah. We all have a profile now, and we all know where it lives. We all know where it stays. The question is, are we going to make sure and ensure it's not used in a nefarious way against us? Because we do have freedoms in this country. We do have a constitution. And now in my opinion, we're at the point where we are going to have to demand transparency. We demand it. I demand that LexisNexis, you do a better job of making people aware of the arbiters of this information. Since you are the arbiters of the information, you need to tell everybody. And we need to have a free report, and you can actually get the report for free because I've already got mine. Make sure people know they can get a free report. Make sure they know how to dispute any and all discrepancies on that report. And it needs to be done in a timely manner. We need you guys overwhelmed by millions of people, since this is what's going on. Just saying. All right, now we're going to get into another video really quickly because I know I am running out of time. It's going crazy. It's like I do this show for 2 hours.
Help you increase your...
Oops, I started and then I'm like, oh, where's my time going? Okay, so the next video we're going to get into, this is Jew Almighty, and we've had I've played his videos on here before. I'm not going to play the whole entire video, but I'm going to play enough of it that you get the gist of what's going on.
A lot of people today are technically making more money than their parents ever did.
Why are we the first generation to make more money than our parents, but everybody still feels broke? Is this not alarming anybody?
But somehow they're still struggling just to get by.
$100,000 used to be a lot of money, but people who are earning $100,000 a year are also struggling.
We know the cost of living has exploded. Inflation has made the price of everything go up.
I'm 39 years old and I have zero savings for retirement. And I don't know when I'm going to be able to start saving because my bills cost more than my paycheck. We're working 60 plus years, and we retire broke. I'm seeing videos of 80-year-olds that are too old to work, but too poor to retire.
Rents are out of control as we are in a housing affordability crisis, where homes are completely out of reach of most buyers. And it seems like wages are the only thing that hasn't gone up because they've stagnated and have not even kept up with inflation.
So great news. You have been a top performer all year long, and we really value your hard work, so we are happy to offer you a raise of 3%.
Is that seriously it? That doesn't even cover the cost of living increase, so I'm literally losing money.
What do you mean cost of living increase? Things don't get more expensive.
Well, my health insurance premiums went up by 6%, so I'm already making less money than I did before.
You don't even need health, so just suck it up.
So if the majority of Americans are struggling to survive,
I'm literally broke. I don't have no money saved in my bank account. I'm young and I cannot buy a house because I don't make enough money.
Literally having to make a decision between putting gas in their car or food on their table, then something clearly isn't adding up. And that's because we're being lied to, not only with where this economy is or how inflation is actually affecting us, but they're lying about what the poverty line actually is right now and how close to losing everything we all are.
It's closer to $140,000. Not only can the average family not afford that house anymore, but that they really can't afford the very basic components of participating in our society.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
The poverty level in the United States is not $31,000 for a family of 4. It's closer to $140,000. Not only can the average family not afford that house anymore, but that they really can't afford the very basic components of participating in our society.
First, there are multiple poverty lines, right? Across the country, if you live in a high-cost region, you're going to have a very different experience than if you live in a low-cost region. When you start thinking about what we define as the poverty line currently, at about $31,200 for a family of 4, 2 earners, 2 children, that doesn't come anywhere close to meeting the needs of a family that is living in a place like Caldwell, New Jersey, where the calculation works out to about $136,500 needs to be made before you can even start saving a dime.
Even when he's talking about the poverty line being at 139, 140, that is the survival line. That's just paying all bills to literally survive and not lose anything. And that means if your car breaks down, somebody has a medical emergency, loses a job, that entire family is in financial ruin. And that doesn't even speak to single parents that are doing it by themselves, so they actually have one salary and not two.
Most American households can't afford something to break, can't afford an emergency expense, et cetera. That's why.
Who sets the poverty line? Again, it's around 32,000 nationally in the U.S.
That does not even sound realistic in 2026, a poverty line of 30-something thousand.
That number, which is maintained by the Department of Health and Human Services, is updated by the CPI from the BLS, is used to define the point at which we begin withdrawing benefits from many types of activities, things like housing, things like healthcare, things like food support.
Oh my gosh, and childcare, which is just outrageous at this point. And for a family that's on the brink or struggling or can't afford that, what are they supposed to do?
Once you start passing those thresholds of earnings, the government starts taking away the benefits.
What are some of the areas where maybe the government numbers aren't correctly calculating?
All the above. You can't trust the government right now or anything that's coming from these big media platforms that are owned by people that are aligned with the government, which is basically every big media platform, because they all donated millions of dollars to be on Trump's good side. And this administration is literally burying economic and unemployment forecasts. So why would they tell the truth about the poverty line?
But I think the United States government has the poverty line somewhere between like $38,000 and $45,000 a year.
That still makes absolutely no sense. With the cost of living, inflation, anything under $60,000 sounds ridiculous. And these numbers that they're talking about is for a family of four, like 2 adults, 2 kids.
He put out his economic data and said that the real math or cost of survival for a family of 4 in the United States is $140,000 a year.
Even the real math breakdown of things doesn't even catch some expenses that we're dealing with as regular people.
It definitely is higher than $45,000 for a family of 4, but $140,000, you might be pushing it. And then I saw the breakdown.
Yeah.
Let's go over this breakdown, and I'm gonna compare it to myself, who lives a modest life in Connecticut, right? So childcare, $32,000 a year. $32,700 a year is roughly $2,700 a month, right?
That sounds crazy, but I have a 3-year-old that's now in pre-K, so I don't have to pay anything for him, but he was just in daycare for 2 years. And what I was paying for daycare on a weekly basis in DC was $620. That's $2,400 a month. That's right under $30,000 a year. And that's just for one kid. I get DC might be a little bit more expensive than other places, but there were people in that daycare that had 2 kids under pre-K ages, meaning they were paying that amount times 2.
We have a 14-year-old and an 8-year-old, so we don't have daycare costs. We got just general costs of raising children and after school activities and sports and things of that.
And that child care cost doesn't even account for that. Having to buy kids school uniforms or school clothes, give them money for lunch, or have the materials to make them school lunch every single day. What about extracurricular activities like sports? I remember when I was young and I played sports, it would be one fee, like you would pay $150 to play football for the season. Now all these sports basically have subscription fees. AAU or cheerleading, where you're paying every single month for your kid to be able to participate.
From my friends who have kids, I know people who are paying $1,500 to $1,800 a month for one kid. So $2,700 is definitely a realistic number if you a family of 4, mom, dad, or 2 parents and 2 children, who are pre-grade school.
There are also ways to pay a lot less. Like if somebody goes to one of those house daycares that a lot of people have, where they just have a daycare in their house, in their basement, you can definitely go that route where maybe you're paying $300, $400 a week, but it's still really expensive, especially if we're talking about people on the poverty line, like surviving, trying to make it, struggling. It's tough.
That's realistic. Okay, bet. Housing, $23,200. That is roughly $1,900 a month.
I get my area might be a little bit more expensive than other places. I think he said he was in Connecticut, but I literally just Googled 2-bedroom apartments in Maryland. $2,000, $2,300, $2,400, $2,100. You got 17 right there. $2,500 and $2,100. So basically just depended on the apartment location and probably what amenities that apartment offers. But if you're looking at $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 a year, which is actually $1,000 over what they have listed for housing. And that number could be even worse for homeowners, especially people that bought their homes recently post post the pandemic, when house prices started skyrocketing and interest rates started going up. Thankfully, I was able to buy my home in 2017. It was a severe fixer-upper. There was a lot of water damage and work that had to be done before I even moved into the property. But even after that, I was able to refinance my house during the pandemic to 2.7%. Depending when you bought your house, especially if it was after prices and interest rates started going up, you're probably paying anywhere between $2,000 to $3,200 a month. And that number does not include utilities, water, electricity, any maintenance that you have to do, especially if you own your own home. So if your AC goes out, you got to pay for that. If your heat goes out, you have to pay for that. Meanwhile, if you live in an apartment, at least you can call a property manager to come fix it for free.
Or if you bought a house in the past 3 or 4 years, post 2021, you got a mortgage of $2,600 to $3,500 a month.
Easy.
They paying more than $23,000 a year now because that housing figure is 19. So, okay, you may not have the child costs, but you probably got $3,200 mortgage.
And what about the people that have both of those things? So maybe you're paying $30,000 a year on childcare, and maybe another $25,000 just on your housing, which puts you at $55,000 right there.
Food, he got it at $14,700. That is roughly $1,200 a month.
A lot of people spend way more than that, even when we're just talking about groceries. Going back to parents, you got to make lunches for your kids or give them money for lunch. What about most adults that go to a bar, a happy hour, or eat out with their friends or their family every now and then? What about people that walk across the street to get something to eat at lunch? That's $10, $15 now because everything is so expensive. So if you do something like that even a couple times a week, you're going to be well above $14,000.
We're spending more than that on food. I'll tell you right now, we on average are spending $1,500 to $1,600 a month on food, and that's just grocery store food. You know what I'm saying? That's not us eating out and we eat out.
A lot of people are probably over $20,000 a year.
So we're close to the $18,000 to $21,000 a year on food in my household for my family of 4. Transportation, we paid off our cars, so we don't have any car notes or anything like that.
I did a few videos on how expensive car payments were in 2025. New car, $748 a month. Used car, $532 a month. So even if we go by the used car rate, that's $6,000 a year. And because this calculation is supposed to be for a family of 4, that means 2 adults, 2 kids, they're calculating 2 cars, so that's $12,000 a year. But again, that doesn't include anything like gas, oil changes, need new tires, maintenance. God forbid your car breaks down, because most people won't even be able to afford car repairs. And many struggling with emergencies, around 46% can't cover a $1,000 unexpected cost, while some surveys show over half have less than $10,000 saved. So if your car is all you got and that's your only means to get back and forth to work and your transmission goes out and that's $6,000 to $7,000, most people are SOL because they do not have the money to get their car fixed. So even this number for transportation isn't really accurate. It doesn't include gas, oil changes, maintenance, or anything else involving a car, just a payment.
So for cars, we're about $3,500 a year to cover them, insure them, and gas and maintenance. Transportation at $14,008, that's roughly $1,200 a month on transportation, right? That's 2 people with $450 to $500 car notes and some insurance.
$500 car notes, that's $1,000 right there. Insurance, let's just say that's $300 for 2 cars, that's $3,600 right there. And a lot of people might be paying $300 for insurance just on 1 car.
You got a $450 car note, your spouse got a $520 car note, and y'all both paying $100 a month in insurance. Y'all paying way more than that.
$100 is super cheap for insurance.
When you factor in gas and everything and maintenance and stuff like that. That number also is realistic. Healthcare, he got it at $10,500. That is a realistic number.
Some people have healthcare subsidized by their job. The average monthly health insurance costs vary significantly, but are around $114 for individual employer plans and $525 for employee plans. And we're talking a month. And $456 for individual ACA marketplace plans. So costs rise with age, location, and plan tier, with family plans potentially costing over $1,900 a month. But let's just use a number of $525 a month. That's $6,300 a year. But remember that.
And I wanted to point out, they keep fussing, we need the ACA subsidies. They still went up. They still went up. You still allowed these insurance companies to fleece the American people. And insurance, how should I say it? The care isn't getting any better. It's getting worse, actually. You got hospitals charging over 400% pricing for the same procedure, depending on if you're a cash payer or if you have insurance. If you have insurance, they are going to rape that insurance. They are going to overcharge the insurance. But if you're a cash payer, they'll give you a discount because you're cash and you don't have insurance. The system is disgusting. And like I pointed out yesterday when I found the Office of Civil Rights, which isn't an office, by the way, They are just basically individuals that oversee civil rights matters, and they are in the Department of Transportation. They are under HHS, and they are also under the Department of Education. Okay. So they are just like a small, they're not even an entity. It's really weird. But at the end of the day, it is a slush fund. They get funding to keep their lights on. The congressmen and women that actually fund a lot of these corporations that benefit from government money, Medicare, Medicaid, right? They donate to those same congressmen, keeping the Office of Civil Rights lights on. It is a complete slush fund because most of the issues that the Office of Civil Rights deals with is health. They rarely deal with educational issues when it comes to, okay, we're actually going to go out and tell this school or tell this other educational platform, you violated somebody's civil rights, fix it. That's what they do. Like, that's their job. And our tax money is going to this. Did you know about this? I just found out about this. But if any of you know about this, please share your knowledge with us.
That's just the health insurance cost. That's paying for health insurance every month or out of every check. That does not include paying for any of the actual medical care, any of the copays, anything that's not covered by insurance. Like if people have dental insurance, most times cavities or getting fillings or root canals are not covered by standard dental insurance, which means people have to pay out of pocket. So there are a lot of out-of-pocket expenses, even for people that have good health care, which will put you well over that $10,000 number.
Pay for health care out of pocket. Do you do the subsidized stuff through the Obamacare marketplace? Trump is switching all that up now, so come January, the healthcare is about to be even more crazy. Or do you have healthcare that's sponsored through your employer? When I was looking up healthcare before my wife and went and got a full-time job and we got that blessing of a benefit, my healthcare for my family of four out of pocket as an entrepreneur was $2,400 a month.
Jeez, $2,400 a month. And we just ain't gonna have healthcare, I'm sorry.
That's almost $29,000 a year if you're an entrepreneur or someone who doesn't have a subsidized plan through an employer out of your pocket. And then he has $21,000 or $22,000 for other essentials. Also very realistic. That's $2,000 a month. That could be your toiletries in your house. That could be sports for your kids. That could be, there's so many clothes, you know what I mean?
Okay, if other essentials cover extracurricular activities, then cool, that makes sense.
Something breaks in the house, the furnace goes out. My furnace.
Replacing my AC this summer was like $8,000. And please believe, I was like, can we sweat it out upstairs? So that definitely eats into that $21,000 right there. And then you still have to do the extracurricular stuff for your kids. You still have to buy clothes and all the stuff that just maintains a healthy living.
Just when I was paid $900 to get that fixed. Just miscellaneous stuff. That leaves you with a total of $118,000 of real cash dollars.
Sheesh.
Then you have to factor in that even though you make a certain amount of income, you got to pay taxes. So he added in another $18,500 for taxes, which puts you at a real poverty line of $140,000.
Wow. And that's just surviving. That's not even like living comfortably.
Now, some would argue that that's not the poverty line, that's surviving. But to me in this country, if you're just covering your basic essentials, you just got a car, you got food on the table, you got somebody to watch your kids while you work.
You're living.
Like, you're not thriving.
And for a lot of people, things just seem so unfair. When you go to college, when you do everything you're supposed to do, when you get a good job that's paying a good salary, you're supposed to be able to live good. But that's just not the experience of so many people right now that's wondering why they're struggling, why they're broke if they did everything they were supposed to do.
I am so tired of living my life in survival mode because despite having 2 college degrees and making close to $80,000 a year, I still cannot keep up with the cost of living. I still cannot afford all of my bills every month and have to live paycheck to paycheck. I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
Which is how we get to a place that the average age of first-time home buyers is between 38 and 40 years old because nobody can afford anything.
I'm literally broke. I don't have no money saved in my bank account. I'm young and I cannot buy a house because I don't make enough money. I don't make enough money to buy a house, and I'm super broke. I don't have no money saved, and I work paycheck to paycheck to pay my rent.
But then you have these super weirdo, well-off conservatives that tell people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and stop crying and work harder, which is nonsense.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. Yeah, I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up, but the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that.
So instead of the people in power actually fixing the problems that have ruined the economy, made inflation skyrocket and housing prices skyrocket, that only 40-year-olds can afford houses, he's saying, and there are going to be conservatives that agree with him, that just leave, we go somewhere else, stop crying about it, which is insane.
America is you go to a place where there is opportunity. And if the opportunities are limited here and they're not changing, then you really should try to think about other places where you have better opportunities.
The American dream is gone.
Ben Shapiro has the most punchable face of anyone I think I've ever seen.
Facts.
On the internet. But to make the assertion that if you can't afford to live where you're from in America as a young person, you should move is literally ridiculous. Housing costs have increased by 290% in America in the last 30 years. And you know how much salaries have increased? Roughly in that same time.
Like 20, 25%, 30%.
So how can someone afford a house that is overpriced when their salaries haven't increased? Ben?
People talk about the housing crisis like it's just numbers, but it actually changed how people live inside their bodies. And what people don't talk enough about is how expensive housing forces you into survival mode, even when you're doing everything right. You stop making choices that are based on what's healthy and start choosing decisions based on what you can afford to survive. Since 1970s, the rent has gone up over 50%, but the wages have not kept up. Even renting isn't a safe fallback anymore. This is why so many people feel stuck, why so many people stay in jobs that drain them, why people stay in relationships that don't feel safe. It isn't really a lack of motivation, but a lack of real options.
The cost of living in this country is currently, it's not going to be, it is currently unsustainable. And there are people that they know this, but then they'll still look at somebody else that's struggling and then tell them they're not doing good enough. I want you to imagine somebody that makes $75,000 a year.
Back when boomers were working age, if they made $75,000 a year, they could afford a house, a car, a couple kids, dog, wife staying at home, and hell, they might even have another secret family that they could afford to take care of. $75,000 in this economy is really like $35,000.
That's a pretty high up wage in terms of like top earners in this country, $75,000 a year. This is a person with no debt, outside of a car.
Most people have student loans that they're paying back, that they're getting harassed about paying back. Most people have credit card debt just because they needed that to survive. So most people don't have zero debt.
An entry-level decent car is $30,000. So this person who puts $200 a month into insurance and they pay 5% into their 401k because shut up, people should be able to put money into their retirement. Because if you're not doing it now, you're never going to do it later. So after those two things come out of their paycheck, and their taxes are paid, they bring home $53,850 a year from a $75,000 paycheck. Average rent in my state for a one-bedroom apartment, because an adult should be able to live by themselves, $1,700.
Yeah, what did I say? $2,000 to $2,500 for a two-bedroom.
Car payment at 6% for an entry-level, very reasonable sedan, nothing fancy. Car payment's $579 a month. Car insurance, $240 or so a month.
I think the other brother said like $100 a month. Nah, it's going to be at least $200 to $300
for a lot of vehicles in this day and age. Food, you only cook at home. You never ever go out. You only cook at home and you only eat decent quality food because a human being should be allowed to eat decent quality food. You pay $879 a month for that. You spend $250 a month in gas. You wear and tear on your car $100 a month. $80 for your phone, $80 for your internet, $175 a month for your electricity, $70 for your water, $20 for your cash. You make $75,000 a year, and outside of a car payment, you have zero debt. Do you know how much money you have left over annually? You do nothing. You don't own a Netflix. You don't go out on a date. You don't pay to go to a park. You don't go watch a movie.
That's living like a monk. And who is doing that or even wants to do that?
Do nothing. You have $3,700 left over annually. That's like $320 a month. Wow. And there's going to be, well, that's $300. Shut up.
Shut up. Because even if you're living like that and one thing goes wrong, that $300 goes out the window. Car breakdown, holding your tire, anything. That money is gone.
That's not a doctor bill, because God knows just because we have insurance doesn't mean that we don't still pay far out the ass when we go to the doctor. Those of you out there that will tell somebody living like this on $75,000 a year before taxes that they are not doing what they're supposed to do, that they should get a second job, that they should get a side hustle, that they should get a better job. Objectively, you're a moron and you live in a fantasy world.
So apparently 60% of Americans can't save up $1,000 for an emergency fund. Now, to be fair, in this current economic climate, $1,000 probably is not going to be able to get you out of much if you were to actually get into an emergency situation, but it's a start. And so the people are going to say, oh, they should just budget better. They should earn more money. Well, sometimes people are just not able to do so, okay, because they're dealing with things personal or financially that are just out of their hands.
In case you don't realize just how bad the economy is, no one is buying anything anymore. Oh, wait, sorry, not no one. Actually,
billionaires, the
half
rich
of
people.
all consumer spending for the first time in history is just the top 10% of American households. You know what that means? Our economy is literally held up by wealthy people because they are the only people who can afford to buy shit.
Whether you view the government lying to us or hiding from us how bad the economy is right now and how bad most of us are doing financially, I think we all need to be aware how bad things actually are. If that poverty level was true for Mike Green at 140,000, a lot of us are on the poverty line or just barely above it, struggling to make a life for ourselves and our family. So with nothing else, with how precarious everything is in the US right now, we need to be saving every penny we can, paying off every single debt that we can, starting with high interest credit card debt. Use the snowball method. Pay off the smallest card first and snowball that now free money into the next card and just get out of debt. Because in this country, in this economy, I think things are going to get much worse before they get better. But shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting and thanks for watching.
Yeah, that was very eye-opening because, people are suffering. And I wanted to share this other video from a registered nurse. And it is pretty emotional. I'll share this. Wait, let me make sure. Hold on. Before I do that, because there are settings and I got to make sure that we can hear her. Yeah, because sometimes when you do these screen shares and you do not select, there's an option that you can select. Yes, okay. Now, because I want to make sure that you guys can hear this. I don't want anybody to be like, I can't hear anything. So let's try this.
Growing up, we were told, go to college, get a degree, work to support your family. Here we are. Did that. Now what?
Sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't sharing what she showed. So let me play that one more time.
We both have good jobs. I'm a nurse. I'm a registered nurse. I work full-time. He works full-time. We just got paid this past Friday, right? We paid the mortgage. Bought some groceries. Put some gas in the car. And guys, it is Tuesday. And we have like $200 or $300 to last us until next Friday. Like, we don't live in a big house. We live in a little ranch. It's 1,100 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, us and our 2 kids. This isn't how it's supposed to be. Growing up, we were told, go to college, get a degree, work to support your family. Here we are. Did that. Now what?
Now, a lot of people might say, well, $200 to $300, that's a lot of money. It's not. Because let's just say between your 2 cars, by, next week, you're going to need to fill up before you get paid again. Okay, so that's $100 gone. That's $200 left. You can't go out anywhere because it costs over $100 just to go out as a family to McDonald's. Okay, we're not being extravagant here. We're just going out for fast food, and that would cost you close to $100. So you got $100 left. Don't let anybody get sick. don't have any emergencies. And I know you said, why is she crying about having a house? She's not crying about having the house. She's crying because she's always broke and she has a house. Because here's the thing, as a homeowner, you would think you'd be a little bit better off than the people in an apartment, but actually you are better off in a house. But the point it comes down to is people are living paycheck to paycheck and they can't do as much. They actually have to do less because they still have less. Again, don't let an emergency come up with one of the two children that you have or an issue with the house. It sounds like a lot to have, $1,200 a month. Wow, that's great spending money. It's not great spending money if you really can't live and you're living paycheck to paycheck. Because trust me, out of that $300, you're going to need gas for your car again. God forbid your car break down and you need to get brakes or tires or anything. You are literally living with super guardrails when before you'd be like, okay, cool, we've got enough. We've got our savings. And so we're saving $100 a week because we can put enough in savings and we still have enough to live to get us through the following week. That it used to be that way. It's not that way anymore. And that's why this woman is in tears. Definitely we'll be praying for her. So now the next video that I wanted to get to, share my screen here, just making sure everything is good, is an interesting thing happened at the theater. Donald Trump actually shook hands with Klaus Schwab and gave him a compliment at Davos. Oops, not you.
Well, we've loved it. We think it's a great country, a beautiful country, and we have had a tremendous success.
Yeah, great success.
And this gentleman, as you know, he's done a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One more question.
He's okay. Either he's trolling Klaus Schwab or that was interesting. Because really? That's the same dude that was saying you will own nothing and be happy. That guy that he shook his hand, the gentleman with the blue tie, Mr. Klaus Schwab. The people that says you're going to live in an angrier world and a more unfair world. That Klaus Schwab. The one that's called for depopulation. The one that called for mass immigration. That Klaus Schwab. He is no longer head of the WEF. They've kind of had him sit down because people can't stand anyone at the WEF. So what does Donald Trump do? He makes the Board of Peace. Yeah. The Board of Peace is going on, and it's a part of the World Economic Forum. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Didn't know if you knew, didn't know if you were abreast of it, but let's check this out.
Creating a new style of governance the world has never seen. Donald Trump unveiled his Board of Peace. At the same time, Jared Kushner unveiled a new Gaza plan for rebuilding the Gaza Strip. Rather than the people governing themselves through the ballot box, like with a democracy, or even rather than a monarchy or a dictator, this is a new style of governance that is being rolled out, where essentially investors are going to build up territories, build up countries, build up nations, and they will control them. It would be run by, rather than presidents and prime ministers, sovereign CEOs. This is much more sinister, and let me explain. It starts off with Kushner's new Gaza plan. I think they've chosen Gaza because they knew they could bomb the heck out of it to raise the entire place so that they could clear all the rubble, build something brand new, and try out this new style of world domination. And we know this because the Board of Peace is not, even though it was supposed to be created for Gaza, it's not in their charter. Gaza's not mentioned. It's for any and all territories that they can essentially get their hands on to do this exact same project. Gaza is just the prototype. Now let's first listen to Jared Kushner talking about the new Gaza plan.
We want to encourage all the countries to be able to follow these best practices. What the Board of Peace will have the ability to do if we're successful with Gaza is really show how do you do peace implementation. As we're creating this system, we can just document these learnings and make them available to all else who want to use them in the future.
Very specifically, Jared Kushner is talking about investors redesigning a strip of land whose people still still do not control their borders, their politics, or their security. They will not be in charge.
There'll be amazing investment opportunities.
The charter for the Board of Peace actually gives Trump ultimate decision-making power with the ability to act on the board's behalf without needing full board consent, essentially making him a king of a territory. That is essentially what this is. And the thing about the Board of Peace is that it's not limited to Gaza. When they started Board of Peace, they said, oh, this is for the rebuilding of Gaza. But then they wrote the charter and they unveiled the charter, and it turned out, wait a minute, this isn't limited to Gaza. This is for any and all areas of the world that you believe there's a conflict, and you're going to go in there with investor money and rebuild these areas, and the investors will actually be in charge. The governance will be by the investors who have a board, a chairman of the board who's ultimately the overseer of this, not the people. They want that for all of us. This is a way for the investors to start ruling the world.
Yeah. Didn't know if you missed that. But yeah. That's what's happening. That is what is happening. Very crazy stuff, right? Very crazy stuff. Because, you know, you want to believe people have good intentions. And the road to Hades, as they say, is paved with good intentions, right? Is that where we are? Is the question. Is that where we are? I wanted to read a comment from Uncle Coolwater. He was saying that the American people need to get stickers that say the biggest suckers on the planet live in America. Americans father of the rules, and everybody that's coming to America get all the breaks. Yeah, it is very strange what's happening in our country right now. And especially, to hear about this Board of Peace and how it may function, according to what Kim Iverson shared with us, based on the provided video, the Board of Peace, which sometimes discussed in critical context as Council of Peace, because I thought it was called Council of Peace, due to potential mishearings or variations. The official sources consistently name it Board of Peace, blah, blah, blah. So the board was ratified in a ceremony in Davos, Switzerland, January 22nd. That was just last week during the World Economic Forum. Trump serves as its lifelong chairman. He's the chairman lifelong until he, I guess, would deem somebody else can have the job. I'm no longer, here, but as long as I'm alive, I'm going to be the chairman. Well, sir, I don't agree with the no kings things, but you've kind of made yourself a king in this sense. Sorry. I mean, you did. You did. I don't like it, but you did that. Just own it. That's all I'm saying. Just own it. Just own it. Own it. With an executive committee providing strategic decision-making, membership includes countries like the United Arab Emirates, Hungary, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Indonesia. And most of those countries are Muslim countries, by the way. I just wanted to put that out there. While notable absences include traditional U.S. allies like Canada and some European nations, permanent membership is available to states for $1 billion fee, which has raised some eyebrows. So you got to pay to play. Wow. Did I just say that? Yeah, I just said that. You got to pay to play. But this is the World Economic Forum. So they're creating a completely different entity outside of the United States, outside of any other nations, that basically says you tend to get in. But we'll just call it $1 billion to get in, because that's what you're doing. Okay, so here's the role. The board's primary role is to promote peacekeeping, stability, and reconstruction in conflict zones, starting with Gaza as its initial focus, according to official descriptions. So there's oversight and implementation, reconstruction and development, decision-making and authority. Now, here's my problem. If people didn't vote for this en masse to say, hey, we're good with this, That means these people can just put an investment there. What if the government doesn't want them to invest there? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, what if they don't want this? Are you just going to be like, well, we're the board of peace and we can just do what we want? I'm just talking about those kind of guardrails. I might be talking silly, but I'm just saying. What? I want that strip of land. I'm with the board of peace. I'm going to take that land. What? Huh? Did Gaza ask for this? I don't know if they asked for this. I know they want peace, but I don't know if they asked for this. Something totally different. So the board's impact could extend far beyond Gaza, potentially reshaping conflict resolution worldwide, though its UN mandate is currently limited to Gaza. So this also is a part of the UN. Didn't we leave the UN as the United States? I thought we left. I thought we weren't paying for lunch anymore. But here we're doing something else. Okay, so the positive impacts in conflict zones, it could be accelerated reconstruction, bringing jobs, infrastructure, and stability for Gazans. Okay, now the negative impacts, critics warn of displacement and loss of sovereignty. Yeah, as rebuilding often involves clearing land. Okay, so overall, the board promises efficient peace building. Its investor centric approach and expansive charter sparked debates about equity and autonomy. So, its long term goal influence depends on adoption by more countries and outcomes in Gaza. So we'll have to, keep tabs on this and pay attention to what's going on, because in my opinion, it's pay to play. Are these regions, are they going to have the ability to push back on these said investors that just want to bring peace and money? I don't know. It's interesting. So thank you guys so much for joining me here on Tell It All Tuesday. Again, I am using a different kind of system here with EV Mux today. I didn't look like I was in the Spider-Verse with the glitching going on. Very happy about that. To me, that your transitions went smoothly. My videos played without stopping. I don't look like I'm stopping frame by frame. I usually do my little fingers and walk across the screen to make sure you can see me and hear me. But just let me know your experience definitely in the comments. And thank you again for joining us here on Unfiltered Vision News. And we will see you tomorrow for Women in Wellness Wednesday. It will be open mic, so definitely make sure that you join us then. Thank you guys so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News, and we will see you in the next one.